Okay, so the next area I want to look at is in the way of filtering your chart or your graph. All right, so I'm going to just very quickly create just a basic graph here. We'll insert here. We'll go up to there, and we'll go. I'll just go with the two-dimensional for now. All right, and I'll move this down and bring that across. Now, in the last video, I was pretty much talking about how you go about selecting various data in your worksheet to have it give you the outcome in the chart. But what happens if you're in a situation, and this is just an alternative here. You're in a situation where, okay, you created this graph, and then you realize that you don't want all of the reps, let's just say. In other words, we've got about 5 different reps being represented. You can see the 5 in each of the groups here. First one is Chip, the second one is Susan, and so forth, okay? Now, earlier I was talking about if we wanted to limit that, what we would have had to do in this case is go back up into the Design tab here, go to your Select Data, and kind of maybe reselect the data. Well, there's another way we can do that, and that is just by physically selecting one of the bars that represents one of the reps, let's say. So let's say we want to get rid of Susan, all right? Now Susan is the orange bar. If we click on to any one of the orange bars, that entire group of orange bars becomes selected. That's what we call the series, the data series. So it's basically this row of data right here. You can kind of see, because we selected that, it shows what we've selected up here. And then all I'd have to do is just hit the delete key, just like that, and now she's gone. Now if you look at the graph, you look at the legend, you don't see Susan in there anymore. Now let's say we wanted to get rid of, let's say, Chip. Now Chip is the first of each of the groups there. I can click on any one of Chip's bars just like that. You'll see that becomes selected up there. Hit the delete key, off it goes, and now we're just down to just those 3 reps. Now here's another trick. Let's say that I want to keep Lurch and Beavis, but I want Susan to take the place of Igor. In other words, I want Igor out of the picture. I want Susan back in here. Now again, in the last video, we had to go back up into that select data to make that happen. We'd have to go back in and select the individual pieces of data that we want in that graph ultimately. But watch this. If I click on to, in this case, I want to switch out Igor. Now Igor is the gray one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on any one of the gray bars. Now when I do that, Igor just becomes selected, right? Now what I can do is I can point to Igor's box here, get that little crosshair, drag it up to Susan, all right? Now this didn't move, so now I'm going to take this one and drag that up to Susan, all right? Now upon doing that, I can just kind of click away from it all there, go down below here, and now we've got Susan, Lurch, and Beavis, see? And if I click onto there, it's not going to show because it's like 2 different ranges. But if I were, let's say, to go back up into Design, go back to the Select Data, you'd then see that we've got, Lurch and Beavis, Igor is ignored, and we've got Susan. So that's pretty slick. Now, if I wanted to go back and get everybody in there, I'll just go back into my Select Data up here, right? And while this is highlighted, I can actually just go back in there and just start at A2, go across to December, go down to Beavis, let go, hit OK, and I'm back to square one again. Now another way we can look at this is by clicking back onto the graph, going back into the design, and go back to our select data. Now, in this case, you'll notice that we've got little check marks next to each of these items. This would allow you to remove the bar, in this case, from any of these areas. So if you decided, okay, I want Chip, Igor, and Beavis only, right? So Chip, Igor, and Beavis, that means I don't want Susan, and I don't want Lurch, all right? And also, over on the right-hand side, you decide that, okay, I only want to see the first 3 months. So, or actually, let's say I want to see, yeah, just the first 3 months, right? Or 6 months. Let's do 6 months. So the first 6 months, I want to leave January through June alone, but then July, August, September, October, right? Then scroll down a little bit more, and then November, December, I'm taking those off. So just by doing that, hitting OK now, it completely changes what I've got here. What's kind of interesting about this is that after we get done doing that, it seems like while I'm on the date on the graph here, it's showing that I'm actually graphing all the data. And here's the key. You are technically still graphing all the data. What we did there just a minute ago is we had done some filtering, and we filtered out those things that we didn't want, all right? And that's what happened. So we still have that data in there that we can go back to by just undoing, putting the check marks back in again, but this is now what you have here. So again, we're still graphing all of this. It's just that we've filtered out the latter half, and we've filtered out a couple of our reps as well. Now, if I needed to turn that back on again, all I'd have to do is go back into select data, just like that. And I'd see them in here, and then I can go back in there and put Susan and Lurch back on. And then I can go back over here and take July, August, September, October, and November and December, hit OK, and now we're back to square one again. Not bad. Now, another way of filtering is using these little markers on the side here. This bottom one is called the, well, if it pops up there, it's basically called the filter. Doesn't want to pop up, it's just blinking at me, but it's basically a filter. What you do is you click onto that, all right, and look at that. Same thing here. So what we have here, in there. So we have here, we've got the, all the reps, right, and we've got all the categories as well, see? So again, I can go in here and I can say, select all, and pick Chip, Susan, and Beavis. And when you do this, you have to also hit apply after you've done that. So I click on to apply, and there we go. So now what do we have here? We've got the 3 reps over the 12-month period. Pretty cool. I go back in that filter again, all right? And if I want to turn them back on again, I can just hit the select all, and then hit it again there, and then it'll turn them all back on again. Hit apply, and they all go back in there again. Same thing with the categories. If I just want to show, for whatever reason, the first and the last quarter only, then I would just go in there and I'd say, okay, I'm going to get rid of the April, May, June, July, August, and September. So that just leaves the first and last quarter, right? And I want to keep the same reps, or all the reps. Hit apply, and there we go. And now click away from there, and you can see what we've done there. Again, it's still showing the entire area here because we are, in fact, technically still graphing all of that. It's just that we put a filter in there, all right? Now, I did all the filtering from here. If I go back up into the select data now, all right, look at that. There's all my reps being checked off, but here are the months that we deselected, and they're unchecked. So I can actually, from here, go ahead and click there, click there, click there, click there, and August and September, hit OK, and there we go. So if you've got like a, thought is, let's say you're doing a presentation, and let's just say October was a really, let's just say July was a really, really bad month, and you don't even want to show it to people, you can actually go into your filter, go down, find July, all right? Take it off, hit apply, and there you go. I would take bets as to how many people would notice that July is missing. All right. So anyway, I don't propose you do that. I mean, I don't want you to do that kind of stuff. I'm just kind of joking there. But anyway, to put July back in again, we would just hit our little filter again, and we'd find July, put the check mark back in there, hit apply, and you just kind of click away from it, and there you go. Now, one last thing I want to show you, and it has nothing really to do with filtering per se, but just more or less the order of data here. If you click onto the graph and go back up into the design and go back into your select data, all right, you'll notice in the legend area, and that's where we have our reps here, which is what's giving us what you see down here, and that's actually coming from over here, right? If you wanted to rearrange these for some reason, maybe the fact that maybe Beavis is our top rep, or maybe Beavis has been around the longest, and you want to kind of show seniority, you can kind of rearrange these. So let's say you want to put Beavis at the top or at the very beginning here of each of the groups, because right now Beavis is at the end, that's the orange bar. What you could do is you could click on a Beavis here, and you'll see these two arrows here. You got the move up and the move down. Now if we hit the move up a few times, you'll see Beavis crawl his way to the top there, right? Just like that. And there we go. And now you'll see Beavis there. Now let's say we want to put Susan next. I can take Susan and move her up. I can take Lurch and put Lurch after Susan. Take Igor, everybody got to take Chip and move Chip down. See? So then you can totally rearrange it. So even though, and then I'll go ahead and hit OK here. So now even though they're in this order here, you haven't rearranged them here. They're still in the order that they were to begin with. But still, it's just a little thing you can do. Now I have one more thought for you, and this is pretty extreme. I don't know how often you'd ever do something like this. Let's say that you're going to be giving a presentation, and you've got your 5 reps, let's say. But let's say for whatever reason, you decide that you don't want to show their names, all right? You want to do your presentation, you want to show what the 5 reps did, but you want to leave them anonymous, I guess, all right? For whatever the reason is. Like I said, this would be kind of an extreme thing, okay? So how would you do that? Well, one way would be that you could actually go up here and actually change the name and call it number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. You could do that, and by doing that, it'll automatically update here. So, I mean, I could go to, let's see where it says Chip. I could type in the number 1 there, hit the Enter key, and now I get, well, because it's, looks like it's formatted as a date, it's doing that. So if I went back in there and just did a comma or something like that. So I end up getting like a 1, or I could get rid of the decimal places. Great. Okay, fine. That's number 1, all right? But, you know, that's a little bit of work, and plus the fact after you do that, you know, it's just a big hassle putting it back unless you know to hit undo afterwards before you save and all that stuff. So instead of going through all that trouble, let me show you another way of doing it. So I just undid all that. What you could do is click onto the graph, go back into your filter, all right, and go into this thing here called names, all right? And where it has on here right now, custom range, all right, for the series, all right, and that's what you see here for each of the rows. So that's a series. We can actually just make that a none. Okay, so you click on a none, you hit apply, and you get series 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So nobody's going to know what it is if this is all you're showing. All right, so you got that. If you want to go even further and say, well, I don't even want people to know what months they are or what this is, I have no idea why you do that. You can hit none over here, hit apply, and now you'll get that. So you can just say, hey, here's the data, but we're not going to tell you who it is or who did it, and we're not going to tell you what it is. So like I said, you'll never do that. Anyway, to put that back, we just put the row 2 there and do that there. Hit apply, everything comes back, and you're all copacetic. So, all right, so hopefully this will come in handy for some of your situations with the charts and graphs here. So I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care.